The first Mishnah of the first chapter of Masechet Shabbat discusses a type of work that is not allowed on Shabbat. The Torah says that on Shabbat you should not do any work, but there are certain activities that are considered milachot that are prohibited on Shabbat, and one of those is taking something out from a private place. For example, taking something out from inside your house, which is only your place. It's a reshut hayachid. It's an individual's property, and you take something out from your house and you bring it into the public property area. Say, for example, the street. If you take something, you carry something from inside your house, you pick it up and then you put it down in the street, you have violated the melacha of carrying something out on Shabbat. This type of work, this melacha, is called hotza'ah, taking something out. You also violate this prohibition if you picked something up from outside and you brought it into your private property and then you put it down inside. You have completed the melacha of carrying something out. It's either carrying from inside to the outside or outside to the inside. Either way, one would have violated this prohibition. So there are three parts, though, to this act. One is picking up. The second, so one is picking up. The second one is moving it from one place to the other place. And the third part is putting it down. If you did all three, you picked it up from, say, the street, moved it inside and put it down into the house, or picked it up from the house, moved it outside and put it down, then you have done the milacha, and you'd get if it was intentional, if it was b'mezid, then one would get the death penalty if there were witnesses and they were warned. If it was by mistake, b'shogeg, then they would bring a offering to the Beit HaMikdash. If it was b'shogeg, which is by mistake, they didn't realize that they were not allowed to do it, they didn't realize today was Shabbat, then they would bring a offering in the temple. But either way, if one did the melacha, they would be chayav. They would be chayav, meaning they are liable. Depends what the situation is, if it was intentional, if it was by mistake. But having done all of the three parts, which is picking it up, moving it, and putting it down, they would be chayav. Now, the Mishnah says that there are 8 different ways that this can happen. And only in the cases where one person has done all three would they be chayav. There are 2 ways to be chayav for a person that's on the inside. So if the person's inside the house, there are 2 ways that they can do all 3 parts. They can pick something up, move it out, and put it down. And the person inside the house can also pick something up from the outside, bring it in, and put it down. Or for a person that's on the outside, they can also have 2 ways where they would have done everything if they picked something up, moved it inside, put it down, or picked something up from the inside, moved it out, and put it down. But the Mishnah, in order to make it clear, gives an example using a ani. An ani is a poor person. The poor person is going around with a basket and he's looking for food. Let's say that is his basket. And he's coming to the house, knocks on the door, he's asking for food. So the ani, if he picks up the basket, moves it in, puts it down, then that would be doing everything, and therefore he would be chayav. If he picked up bread from inside the house, moved it out and put it down, then those are both ways that he can be chayav, 2 ways where he did everything. Now the person on the inside, say he's the homeowner, and the poor person knocked on the door. If he reaches out and takes the basket and brings it in, puts it down, he's done all 3 parts and therefore chayav. And if he's picked up bread from inside, moved it out and put it down, he is also chayav. So there are 2 for the person on the outside, there are two ways that the person on the inside could have done all the components which are needed to be chayav. Now, what happens if a person did only part of it? Together they did everything, but each one only did part of it. Say he only picked it up, or he only picked it up and moved it, but he didn't finish and do all three. Then he would be patur. Patur means that you are not liable. You don't get any kind of punishment or consequence. Patur means you don't get punished. You don't get a consequence. However, patur does not necessarily mean that it is mutar. Mutar means you're allowed to go ahead and do it to begin with. In this case, doing part of the melacha and together doing the entire melacha is also not okay. Unless you're doing absolutely nothing, you're just standing there, then that would be mutar. But in general, if you are participating and doing part of the melacha, then you are patur. That means you're not liable. However, you'd still not, you shouldn't do it to begin with. If you did do all three parts, you'd be chayav. So I'd like you to go ahead and answer those questions and finish up your presentation of this Mishnah.